The question that we posed is, are you a person or do you have a person? And for someone who's never been confronted with this question, it sounds idiotic. What do you mean, am I a person or do I have a person? Am I schizophrenic or something? When we are born, the process of being born or coming on this earth is technically the same for every species, right? One day, you're not here, and the next day you're here. So your physical presence becomes visible on this earth. Now, we are the only species who, right after being born, we're immediately being inserted into what we call the system, the health system, the legal system, even the financial system without understanding it. And as soon as we are inserted, something begins to happen, a chain reaction. We become something that is really unnatural to us. And what I mean by that is every other species, every bird, every squirrel, every ant, every fish, everything else that's being born simply goes about the natural way of life. A fish would never consider going to the fish's clerk's office and put in a birth registration. Fish don't do that, and deer don't do that, and birds don't do that. Really, no species does that, but we do it. But why do we do it? Now, if you look at our world, what gets a certificate? Material things get a certificate. Everything in commerce is based on certificates. So who are we? Why do we as human beings get certificates? The term person comes from the Latin and Italian root of personare. And really, if you go deep enough, you see that it means to ring through something. And in order to understand that a human being is not automatically a person, you can go online and research that monkeys have been given the status of personship, and that now robots are getting the status of a person. So if other species can get a status of a person, that automatically means that humans are not automatically a person. When we're born, we're just a natural being, okay? And we could go about our lives. We could be born somewhere in the woods. We could be born somewhere out in the country, never really get close to the system, and we would not have the same status as everyone else in the system. As a matter of fact, we wouldn't be citizens, we wouldn't be persons, we wouldn't have all of these obligations, and so forth. What does that tell us? What it mainly tells us is that our participation is voluntary. And that's something most people have never heard before. Most every legal system in the world today prohibits slavery. So because the systems prohibit slavery, they have to find a way around it to get people into their control realm. And this is how it happens. When you are born, you're a natural being. You're not a citizen. You're not a person. You're just a natural being. You're a man or a woman, and when your parents give you a name, they call you Paul or Gina or Sarah or whatever, that in itself has no attachments to a system. But what happens next creates an adapter. It creates the bridge from the natural being to the legal being. You as a natural being, you are subject to laws. You're subject to natural laws. You're subject to universal laws. But we are not subject to the legal system and the rules and the regulations and the statutes that a legal system creates. So in order for the legal system to get you, they create what we call an adapter. They create a person. Now that person is in and of itself nothing living. It's a fictitious legal entity. And when you put life into it, when you connect with that person, then it appears to you that you become that person. So what the system does is, as soon as you're born and your name is recorded, there's a birth certificate created that has the name on it, but that's not you. That is the legal entity. That is your adapter into the system. Attached to that, depending on where you live, you get a number. You get a social security number in the United States. This number, this name connected to your date of birth has created a legal entity. Throughout your life, most of you embody and put life into this legal entity by identifying with it. But you are not it. You are not it. This is the person, the legal entity. The natural human being does not have to apply for licenses or permits. It doesn't have to ask permission. Who would it ask permission from? Because in the natural realm, there's equality. In the natural realm, there's equal rights for everyone, equal freedom for everyone. So the system in itself, a system, is not something negative. If hundreds of thousands, millions of people live within communities, they will create systems. But this system, this particular system, the legal system and the financial system, which are intrinsically tied together, they have created a completely different set of rules. And they have created what we call statutory law, which is very different from the natural law. And they know if people realized that it was a choice to participate in it, that most wouldn't do it. But all you need to understand in order to realize that it's a choice, if it wasn't a choice, it would be slavery. If you didn't have a choice whether you want to participate in the system or not, then it would be by definition slavery, because then you would be forced to participate. Now, a lot of the things that are being thrown at us, whether that's taxes or whether that's forms, permits, regulations, they seem very forceful and they are connected to threats. But the threat, in all actuality, can never extend to the living natural being if you do not identify with the legal adapter, with the legal entity, with the legal person. You as a natural being, you're in the absolute realm. And as soon as you identify with this legal entity, you move over into the relative realm, where everything is relative and subject to change. Also, everything is forbidden unless it's allowed. It's forbidden to drive on the roads. It's forbidden to, you can't swim in ponds and you can't fish and you can't hunt, and if that's what you want to do, because it's forbidden unless you have a license, a permit, or you are allowed to do it. So the system, the statutory law, this legal system is completely inverted. It's upside down from the natural realm. And this is a hard thing to grasp for a lot of people because we just were infused into the system, never understanding that there's a choice, never understanding that there is a realm outside of it and that we can actually choose. Hey, this is John Nolan. Thanks so much for watching. You can watch the full live stream on this topic by clicking on the link in the description.